Good morning, Satnam. It's me, Shakti Sundari, back with you today for the next reading from the beautiful Radiance Sutras by Lauren Roche. So we are continuing with the insight verses as Bhairava is speaking to his beloved goddess, giving her final advice on how to interpret and work with these verses. Today we are on insight verse 150. So I just need to put my glasses on to read to you from the Sanskrit. So, insight verse 150 from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Yaga atra parama ishani tushti ananda lakshana kshapanat sarva papanam tranat sarvasya paravati. And again, Yaga atra parama ishani tushti ananda lakshana kshapanat sarva papanam tranat sarvasya paravati. And here is the beautiful translation by Lauren Roche. The real sacrifice is to let your sins be destroyed by the vast power of the universe. It is to live in radiant bliss. Senses dissolve, mind dissolves, the objects of sense dissolve, even the void is dissolved. This is transcendence. So in this beautiful verse, Bhairava or Shiva is continuing on really from what he's been saying in the last few verses. If you've been following, it makes even more sense. But he's kind of been answering Shakti's question as to how do I offer my praises? How do I worship then? How do I honor the divine? And he has been saying you don't need to do anything in particular in terms of an offering or a sacrifice or a bowing down or worshipping an image or an altar. Just the full immersion in life is your worship, because every aspect of life is divine. And so here he continues, the real sacrifice, so, perhaps referring to in those days the actual offering of living sacrifices or flowers or animals, that kind of thing. The real sacrifice is to let your sins be destroyed by the vast power of the universe. So interesting use, and this is a translation, so I don't know what the exact Sanskrit origin of this is, but interesting use of the word sins here, because really in these kinds of belief systems and in Tantra, there isn't really anything that is a sin because everything is divine. But perhaps we can think of a sin as those things that keep us separate from realization of who we really are. Those beliefs, those programs, those conditionings that keep us limited, that make us believe that we are not divine, that we are not love, that program us to forget our true divine nature. And I suppose in yoga there are moral dictates or moral guidelines in terms of causing no harm to any other and being living in truth, speaking truth. So there are moral dictates, I guess, from yoga, but they aren't specifically mentioned here in the sutras. Here, there is an invitation really to move beyond paradox, to move beyond polarity and duality, and to come into the recognition that all is one, and that we center ourselves in that place between these opposites, which tend to drive so much of our human living condition. But let's follow it. Let your sins be destroyed by the vast power of the universe. So for me, this would mean when we surrender all of that within us, which is judgment, all of that within us, which is fear, all of that within us which believes we are not good enough, all those kinds of things, all those times when we have acted, because really when we do harm unto another, we are doing harm unto ourselves. When we act in ways that somehow we feel bad about later, usually those actions and reactions are coming from a place of fear or a place of pain within our human being. So if we are able to surrender that to the vast power of the universe, to let go, to release, to allow space within our being for love and forgiveness and compassion to flow in, then, this is my interpretation, obviously, there is the capacity to live in radiant bliss. And this is not a radiant bliss that comes from self-importance or arrogance or pretense. It is literally the light that fills our being when we empty ourselves out of this dross, of this subconscious shadow, of the conditioning of the programming, and we allow space for our true divine nature to shine through. It can't help but happen. Senses dissolve, mind dissolves, the objects of sense dissolve. So again, the paradox where we have been instructed in one way to immerse ourselves fully and inhabit our senses fully and totally. Now there's this opposite sense of everything dissolving, 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 dissolving as we merge with the infinite. Even the void is dissolved, and then there is this nothingness. This is transcendence. So this is a state that really, as Shiva says at the beginning, cannot really be adequately described in words. It is to be experienced, and this is to be experienced by our immersion in life and by our immersion in living life as a meditation. And when we're able to access that stillness, that vast expanse, that transcendent state beyond the senses, beyond the void, when we're able to feel that within our being, it lends a very different quality to who we are and how we interact with life and with every other thing. And that's my reading for today. Thank you for being with me, and join me again tomorrow for the next reading from the Radiance Sutras. Much love and Sat Nam.